Hey, pretty sweet, huh? If you need a Bible, put your hand in the air and we will get you one. If you have your Bibles, I'm not going to tell you where to turn just yet. But if you didn't bring one this morning, we can get one for you. Just put your hand in the air like that, and we'll run around and get you one. And like I said, I'm going to let you guys know as we go different scripture that you can run to. Actually, the first one you can run to, Genesis 1. Genesis 1:26 is where we can start you off at. We are starting our relationship series this morning. So if you brought your boyfriend or your girlfriend, good for you. If you're like, I want a boyfriend or girlfriend, well, good for you too. So it's a 5-week series of a bunch of different things. And we're already talking and excited. I love it. So here's how this series is going to work, okay? Come back to me because we got a lot to cover in a little amount of time. Listen, here's how we're going to do this. It's going to be kind of 4 waves, all right? It's a 5-week series where we'll be teaching on Sunday morning and doing panels on Wednesday night, okay? So if you don't come to Wednesday nights usually, trust me, you're going to want to for the next 5 weeks, all right? So it's like 4 waves. Look at it this way. I will be teaching on Sunday morning, wave 1. Panels will be answering any questions that you want on Wednesday nights. And then you've got your small groups where you'll get to discuss this information. And then you've got your parents, okay, which is very important. That we're sending them information. We're hoping that they will engage in communication with you. Now, a few kind of disclaimers that I need to talk about before we move forward. At the end of the day, the information that I give you is not for you to run home and attack your parents, all right? Or be like, Arnold says I can date. Okay, because first of all, I'm not saying that just yet. But at the end of the day, your parents have the veto power. They're the ones that you want to honor. They're the ones that you live under their roof, and they're the ones that are going to make the final calls at the end of all this information that I talk about. But we want this to be an encouraging process. With that said, I'm going to ask you guys throughout the series, to behave. All right? There's things that we're going to say from the stage and in our panel that, is going to call for some maturity. Yes, there'll be some giggling and there'll be some fun, and that's totally fine. But we ask you to, keep it at a low roar. Also, I'm going to encourage you to take it easy on me, all right? I'm here on stage, fully exposed, talking about all kinds of topics, all right? And so I want you to be nice to me. If I say something that you don't agree with, that's okay. Jot it down, ask the question, because at the end of every service, we're going to give you a phone number that we're going to ask you, not the gathering phone number, a completely different Google phone number. We're going to give you a phone number where you can ask questions that maybe came up throughout the talk. You're like, I want to know more about that. And this particular Wednesday, all of our ladies are going to have a panel of adult men answering your questions. All of the guys are going to have a panel of adult ladies answering your questions. So we will split you up this Wednesday. Every Wednesday will be different. Okay, you'll have a different panel answering whatever questions you have. And we want you to submit these to our text number, okay? We'll do our best to get through them. Another warning for us, okay? Try to have an open mind. The truth is, all this information will not have a chance against your reality if you don't have an open mind and heart. This is what I mean. Have a hunger for truth and discussion. Don't just try and debunk whatever is being said on stage because of your reality, your feelings, or what you are going through. Yes, those are important things, and my hope is that we can help navigate with you, those alongside with you. But if you are not careful, all that what we attempt to teach you won't stand a chance against your reality. You will hear what you want to hear, because to hear the alternative to your reality it can be hurtful, can be hard to hear. So take a deep breath and know that God is on the throne, and all this information is not meant to shame you or hurt you or make you feel less than. Sound good? Is that fair? Okay. So why? Why dating in the dark? Why this series? Every day, we believe that your generation attempts to walk into a world of the unknown. A world where culture tells you just to try it, to find out, figure it out on your own. A world that can be full of promise, excitement, warmth, butterflies, and maybe even love. A world where we seldom get told what can happen or are really given instructions on what is on the line. I'm talking about the world of romantic relationships, dating, and all that comes with those subjects. We believe that while dating and relationships sound like a fun and cool idea, without the proper information or preparation, you could just be dating in the dark, in the unknown, just wandering around trying to figure it out. And in the meantime, hurting yourself and others along the way. Now, the topics that I'll be covering, I won't start with dating right away. But every Sunday morning is important. It's going to build on itself. This morning I'll be talking about the differences between male and female other than the obvious, okay? But it's going to build on itself. You're going to want to pay attention. So hopefully you brought stuff to take down notes with, because you will need it, all right? So don't tune out, because I'm not talking about dating right this second. It's going to lead to these things. Now, differences between male and females. I have another kind of like warning. This morning I want to talk about these differences and how we are wired. God created us man and woman with certain tendencies, certain pulls, and roles. At the very foundation of who we are as male and female, you will find essence of what I am talking about today in most women and most men when it's all broken down to its simplest form. Now, some of these truths can overlap between sexes, okay? And depending on your culture and the atmosphere that you were raised in, you may think the opposite of what I'm saying. That still does not make what I'm about to tell you untrue, okay? Again, because of your experience. You will, I'm not going to say you may, you will feel tension as we cover these subjects, and particularly this morning. And that's okay. But just hear me out. And like I said, relax. It's going to be all right. I want to start with a story, okay? A few years back, I witnessed my son at a playground, and this idea of how male and female are wired differently just popped out at me because of what I was witnessing. My son Noah, who's the oldest now, but this was years ago, he was at the playground, he's hanging out with these boys, and he starts kind of leading the charge on a game of tag. Okay? And he's not only that, their imagination starts flowing, and I start hearing them talking about a jungle and how they're playing tag in a jungle, and about how there's certain areas in this jungle that you can't touch because if you touch them, it's hot lava and you might die. Okay? Ever been there before? And then on the other side of the playground, I witnessed these two little girls, and they have two little boys with them. This is great. Where am I? And meanwhile, these girls, they're leading the way, okay, of these boys. They say to the boys, well, boys, we are now married, guys. And that means that we can kiss each other. And one of the girls is like, and you can kiss him because he is your brother, so it's okay. Then it's almost as if a game of follow the leader has begun. I don't know. It's just what I heard. Follow the leader has begun. Anywhere the girls went, the boys went, and there was hugging and more kissing going on. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Right? With these kids. This just reminded me of how different we can think as male and female. And who knows, for some of you ladies, you're like, shoot, I was getting married over hot lava as a kid, all right? Like, that was your mentality at the playground, you know? And that's totally okay, that's fine. But we still, at the very core, have specific tendencies, and we will unpack those here today. Genesis 1:26-27 says this. At the very beginning of history, God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Here is God creating man, and then outdoing himself, he created women. Both equal yet greatly unique at the same time. Also wonderfully balanced in the eyes of God. Genesis 2:18, God allows for Adam to look upon creation and realize there is no one for me. There is no one like me. There's no one that balances me. He allows for Adam to long for someone that would be a suitable partner to him. Then God brings him Eve and performs the first wedding I can only imagine Adam's jaw dropping as he saw this perfect creature created in the image of God. Today, I want us to look at just some general ways that God has wired girls and how God has wired guys, because at times I don't think we realize that what we are dating, when we're dating another person, God created them differently. I don't think we realize that at times. And half the time, we are just trying to figure it out. Why are they the way they are? And why can't I figure it out? These are the things that go through our head. I want us to celebrate what God has done. I want us to celebrate each other for what God has created. And I want to make a call to respect each other on a greater level. Listen to this quote. It was in God's plan to make man and woman different from each other from the moment he imagined us. The original plan was to use these differences as a starting point for building intimate, fulfilling relationships. But in our sin-filled world, what started out as an advantage has become a frequent source of frustration. Sadly, we have taken these beautiful things that the Lord has created and fractured them. And what has been produced on the other end is scary and heartbreaking. Here's our first tip on the series. Guys, if you can't understand a girl on a basic level or will attempt to respect those differences, you have no business dating. Ladies, if you can't understand a guy and how God wired them on a basic level or will attempt to respect those differences, you have no business dating. How were you designed as a guy and as a girl? Now you may be this morning like, Arnold, I don't need this. I got this. You know, I learned it back in kindergarten. You know, I totally understand the differences between guys and girls. For me, nobody taught me. You know how I found out about the differences between guys and girls? Check this video out. This is how I found out.
Yes.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Okay, you can go.
Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
That's how I learned, okay? And you may think, that's all I need to know, right? I can say that. I've heard that. I've seen that movie. I get it. There's so much more to a man. There's so much more to a woman. How are you designed? So what I'm going to do next, I will cover different pieces, and then in some of those, I'm going to talk about how some of those things are fractured in our world today and how they're viewed and how they're actually playing themselves out in real time, okay? So let's start with the guys. The guys get to go first, all right? Whatever. Okay, that's the first example. Males, here's how we are wired, okay? The word is waffles. Okay, waffles. We are like waffles, all right? Now, anybody like waffles in here? I love waffles, yes. Part of my favorite part of eating waffles is that every compartment that is in those waffles, I can't eat my waffle until every compartment is filled with syrup. Anybody with me, right? It's like, it's not done yet. No, you just drizzled. Every compartment, right? Our minds, listen, come back to me. Our minds, a typical mind of a man, okay, and how we process life is in compartments, a compartment at a time, an issue at a time, one thing at a time, okay? So when a guy is at work, he's at work. When he's on the football field, he's on the football field. When he's watching TV, he's watching TV. Ladies, when you're at home and you see your dads and they zone out and mom walks across the way, or you try, dad, and they're like zoned in, that's because they're in this compartment called the TV compartment, okay? And that's okay. Or when you're standing across a guy and you're having a conversation with him, maybe you're dating him, maybe you're interested in him, and he's kind of like, and you're wondering what they're thinking. And so you ask him, because why not? What are you thinking about? And in your mind, you're hoping, not another girl or not someone else. And he says to you something so profound. Nothing. Listen to me. That's a real thing. That may upset you, and you'd be like, how can you think about nothing? That's just ridiculous. It's like, no, that's how they wired. We actually have a compartment box that's called nothing in it. And we can think about nothing. And we can sit in that thing and it's totally okay. No, we're not plotting how to leave you. We're not plotting about another girl. We're just in that compartment and we're focused in on that. Social scientists call this compartmentalizing. That is putting life and responsibilities into different compartments. As a result, men are problem solvers by nature. They enter a box, size up the problem, and formulate a solution. In their careers, they consider what it will take to be successful and focus on it. Also why, if you can get them convinced in a box, you need to charge that hill and we need to take it out, they will all go in that direction, okay? That's why my son in the playing tag, he was able to take these boys to the jungle and don't touch the hot lava, right? That's what they were focused on. In communication, they look for the bottom line and get there as quickly as possible. In decision making, they look for an approach they can buy into and apply it as often as possible. The bottom line with men is this. Men feel best about themselves when they are solving problems. Therefore, they spend most of their time doing what they are best at, while they attempt to ignore the things that cause them to feel deficient. At the bottom line is how we're wired, ladies. A few other things there. Usually, we are the stronger sex physically, okay? It's just as true. I had some girls try to debate me on that, and I said, can you just please go arm wrestle that guy right there? Okay? It's just, listen, that's not always the case. Remember when I said the overlap? Some girls in here are way stronger than some of the guys in here, and that's up to you. But most of the time, and this is important when we start talking about protection and defending and taking care of and looking after and caring for our ladies and being taken care of. 2, we're very visual. We have a fast sexual drive. Fast sexual drive. Guys, it's like this. Ladies, guys are like a light switch, okay? Or a microwave. They can go from 0 to 60 in sexual thinking like that, okay? It's just how it is. If we ladies could put you in our minds for about 5 minutes and walk through the mall, you would want to puke with all the information that we have processed through our mind and what we're capable of seeing, okay? We are able of seeing the craziest things in a sexual matter. Gentlemen? Yes? Yes. Okay. They're like, yes. What do I say to this? I don't know. Okay. That's this again. Keep track of this because it's all going to come together toward the end. 3, pride. We want to be the leader. We want to be the protector. And we want to be the brave one. We actually, at the core, we want to be those things. But here's how it's been fractured in our world today. We still may lead, but we lead with fear, hurt, ridicule, obsession, or unhealthy control. We're not a protector anymore. It has turned into a dictator, actually. We as men have taken advantage and said, see, even the Bible says that we are over you and have become dictators over women. No wonder women want nothing to do with us. That's the fractured part. Next one, we want to be respected. We want to be respected. And that might sound very simple to you ladies, but it's in the scriptures. For some reason, it had to be jotted down. Wives, respect your husbands. Why is that in there? Why, Ephesians 5, you'll see it. 1 Peter 3, you see it. Why in the world is that such an important thing to us? It's very at the core to want to be respected as a person, as a man. Again, yet, it's been fractured. Men can lean toward being passive, especially if they feel threatened, like they will fail, or if someone will do it for them. Adolescence is being pushed back more and more into the late 20s. You have more men today living at home with their moms than ever before in history. They demand respect instead of earning it. Sometimes by status, physically, belittling, cornering a girl into something they don't want. They start feeling respected by what they think they have accomplished with girls because the guys seem to respect them. So we want the respect, but we seek it in ugly ways. At the core, we actually want to work. We want to be a part of hard work. Hard work is that we've accomplished something. But again, the fractured piece of this is we can be passive and lazy. Or I'll just let my mom do it for me. Or I'll just let a girl do it for me. Let's talk about the ladies. Hey, ladies. There's like one here. Okay, great. If men are like waffles, ladies are like spaghetti, okay? Like a plate of spaghetti. Everything is connected with everything else. Everything affects everything else. If you attempt to follow one noodle around the plate, you will intersect a lot of other noodles, and you might even seamlessly switch to another noodle. That is how women face life. Every thought and issue is connected to every other thought and issue in some way. Life is much more of a process for women than it is for men, okay? This is why women are typically better at multitasking than men, okay? It's why on a typical, these girls can be doing homework, their math homework, while FaceTiming with a friend, doing their nails, watching Netflix, while listening to Shawn Mendes in the background. And that's just like a simple night, right? Girls, you can do those things. I don't know how, but you can, okay? Because all her thoughts, emotions, and convictions are connected. She is able to process more information and keep track of more activities. It's also why, boys, we don't stand a chance at times. Because everything is connected to everything else. We are constantly walking into potential death traps. And here's what I mean by that. Here's what I mean. Here's an example. Boys, just follow me. Ladies, watch this. She wakes up with a zit. She feels bloated and didn't fit into her jeans the way she wanted. She realizes her assignment is incomplete. Once she arrives at school, a girl didn't look at her the right way. Her best friend is not available at the time to talk about it. Her latte is not warm enough. Weather is jacking up her hair, and she just realized she's running a little late. And here you come, boy, to face the dragon. And you say simple thing, like hello. But because you said it in the wrong tone, at the wrong time, you could get seriously hurt. Now, you may have said the wrong thing. Now she's upset, or she walks away, or she starts crying. To you, you were in your hello box. But to her, everything that happened that morning is connected to everything else. It's not just that moment. Ladies? Yes? Yes, right? There's more to you. There's more to that. Everything's connected to everything else. It's also why they love to talk, okay, and to be heard. As a result of all of this, they solve problems, but from a much different perspective than men. Women consistently sense the need to talk things through. Here's why. In conversation, a woman can link together the logical, emotional, relational, and spiritual aspects of the issue, okay? The links come to her naturally. So the conversation is effortless, right? Sometimes the guys are like, how can you talk so much? But it's true. They're able to. If she is able to connect all the issues together, the answer to the question at hand bubbles to the surface and is readily accepted. Okay? This is how women process, gentlemen. And it's why at times we're just left in the dust trying to figure it out. But at the same time, ladies, toward the guys, like, why aren't you listening? Why can't you hear me out? Why can't you process the way? We are literally processing life on two different parts of the spectrum. And we don't even know it. And we get frustrated by it. Usually, they are the weaker sex physically. Physically, okay, usually. I say, why do you bring that up, Arnold? Because I think we've abused it in this world. That we don't pay attention to that. Honestly, if I'm sitting with a couple of my friends, females at a coffee shop, and somebody breaks in or somebody tries to do something, naturally my hope would be that I would want to protect them and that they would want to be protected by me. If this dude came in and acted like an idiot, right? It's just stand up, protect, defend. They're a little more emotionally driven. It's the thought that counts. Amen for that in my relationship. But because you are, it's not a bad thing. This is a beautiful thing, okay? How it's been fractured, though, is because you can be emotionally, you can make crazy emotional decisions Let's talk about fights, for example. Okay? You get two dudes who don't like each other. They duke it out. Gentlemen, it's over. You walk away. That box has been shut. You walk away. Ladies, some of you remember the name, middle name, and last name of the girl who pulled your hair in kindergarten or in first grade. Can I get a witness to that? It doesn't leave you. Somehow it's connected. I think last time, Krista, where's Krista? What is the name? Nancy. What grade was that? Second grade, okay? She's a grown married woman, right? But the thing is, it's like, you're not just going to leave it there. It's going to be and continue to be connected. That emotional drive is still there. They have a slower sex drive, okay? Gentlemen, ladies are more like a dimmer or a crock pot than a switch or a microwave. Does that make sense to you? No, ask your parents. Ask your parents. Okay, ask your parents on that one, okay? Again, that'll come into play later on as we talk more about this tongues. Usually they want to be led in relationships. They actually inside, I believe, women want a man to stand up for her and protect her and take care of her. They do want that. She wants to be led. For whatever reason, though, in our world and how things have been fractured, she has been hurt in the past. That's all she has ever learned as a woman in our culture. So they feel like they need to take the control. They believe that there's no need for relationship. Protect your heart and treat guys now how they treat girls. Hold them at arm's length and you get yours. That's the fractured world today. More of the fractured world. Or you are just working out of your curse, ladies. Genesis 3:16 is very clear. Your desire shall be for your husband and he shall rule over you. You will want to be over the man constantly. But ladies, if you are already stepping into the role of providing for him, caring for him, taking care of him, you're actually crippling him and not allowing Jesus to lead the way. You usually want to be loved. As much as the scripture says, wives respect your husbands, it says men love your wives. These beautiful, seem so simple, but real and truthful reminders. Love your wives. Because, and a proof is simple, right? Like, I don't have a daughter, but Curtis, our boy Curtis, when he runs around with Sailor and loves his daughter and cares for her the way he does, what do? Ladies, right? Or if I were to stand up here and say all kinds of lovey-dovey things about my wife, which I won't, baby, I got you, it's fine, okay? One day. Right? I want that. I want to be loved. I want somebody to stand on stage and love about me too, right? It's there. It's fine. It's a good thing, okay? We want to be loved, but it's been fractured in this ways because of hurt or misuse of the gift or lack of feeling loved. Ladies, it can lead a girl to attach themselves to anything that says it loves you or does something nice to you or just looked at you. You quickly use I love you because you're so hungry for it that it's turned unhealthy. That's the fractured side of it. I'm not saying all of you are there. I'm just saying that's how bad it can get. Another one, this one's not talked about all the time, and it could be controversial, but I don't care. I believe that women would love to be able to raise children and would love to nurture. Except that this world tells you that you should do both. Fully career woman and fully run the whole house and raise those children. I think that's unfair. Why can't there be a mixture? Why can't there be a balance there? The world has convinced you that you should never rely on a man to care for you fully. And again, history tells us, how do we blame that? That you should never fully depend on a man because he will fail you. These are the things of the culture. Or if you do stay home today, you need to fill the stay-at-home mom identity of today. Right? You got to be the perfect mom, which means you need whitewash pictures and perfect Instagram. You need to promote a product on Instagram that you're sponsored by, or have a blog, or you need to be good at arranging flowers or something like that. It's crazy what this world has turned it into. Like you can never win. You're always chasing something new. These are the fractured versions of these things. And here's what they've produced. It's about to get serious. It was already serious, but even more. This is what it's produced. I've shown you what some of the fractured stuff of these differences, okay? And what our culture has added onto them. There's this desensitized realm of what the culture has done with these differences. Much of what is produced in our culture, movies, advertisement, music, is only feeding into the brokenness of these beautiful truths. The more we watch and listen, the more we believe the opposite of what's intended. So these beautiful things I talked about guys and women, instead of us saying, oh yes, those are beautiful things, I'll accept those, I'll live within those, those are true of me. Because of what the culture produces and what it pushes us toward, it dilutes it. We're desensitized to the truth. And we're thinking, no, I got to believe something different. I got to add myself to something different and look different. And some of the results in our culture are just heartbreaking because of our brokenness in this area of respecting and understanding the differences. We are paying for it with many consequences. In fact, I could argue any brokenness I will talk about for the next few weeks can be brought back to this idea. Ready? That we don't truly understand each other, let alone respect each other. Every brokenness I talk about for the next 5 weeks, I believe can be brought back down to this simple form. That we don't really understand each other and we don't truly respect each other. And as a result, we have 3 cultural results that are very real to you. And this is what we're going to end with. Cultural result number 1, modesty. Or lack of. I'm going to specifically talk about dress. Ladies, don't worry. I'm not going to beat you up. Just follow me here. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20 says this, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. I want to talk about a little bit in modest dress on both sides of the aisle. But I'll start with you ladies. And please hear my heart. You just learned that we are very visual beings. Okay? We have our own to own up to that. Okay? It's not all up to you. But you just learned that. Okay? Not that you are not. But we tend to be stronger in that place. Not at the level that we are. Some of you know it and use it to your advantage, and some of you have no clue and walk around flashing and you have no idea. Leading your brothers to stumble and you have no idea. Or you do, and you do it on purpose. I'm talking to 2 girls here for a second. If you are doing it on purpose to get attention, you don't have to. You have permission. You don't have to. That doesn't have to be your walk. Doesn't have to be your role to get the attention. If you're doing it because it's what the world tells you to do, you don't have to. That doesn't need to be true of who you are. Jesus calls you to so much more than that. How can you expect, and I don't mean this as a punch, hear it, let it sit in. How can you expect respect from this world or men if you fail to respect yourself? How? How? And it starts in front of a mirror. But guys, a lot of these ladies dress this way because we as men have said that this is what we want. Maybe not exactly in those words, maybe not vocally, but with what we watch, what we deem acceptable, the small comments like, man, that's hot, or check her out, if only I could get a girl like that, or maybe your crazy attention for the girl who is letting it all hang out. Guys, our girls are watching and listening. They know what we want at the flesh level. It's why they're led to walk the way they do and dress the way they do at times. So we're just as part of the problem. Again, not understanding the differences, not respecting the differences. And it leads, guys, it leads to just what you see on magazines, what you see in movies, what you see in entertainment, which leads to money, which leads to our ladies trying to match up. So we are also helping the issue at the source. And guys, like I said, we're on the other side as well. You think, oh yeah, the modesty talk is just for the girls. No, You walk around showing your underwear, taking your shirt off all the time, flexing all the time. Right? I had a guy, dude, oh my gosh, a student in my ministry years ago. He literally, him not flexing was like, oh, praise God, you're breathing. Like he was just flexing all the time, all the time. And it's like, what are you doing? Girls are visual too, guys. Okay, and they're the ones that get beat up all the time on the how they dress and what is exposed, and that we're very visual. They are as well. We need to think about that and maybe balance that out and respect the differences and put a stinking shirt on. Ladies, yes, you can agree. It's okay. Yes, yes. They're shaking their heads. Yes, or maybe they're not because they want you to take your shirt off. Okay, next one. Self-esteem issues. Self-esteem issues have been produced in our culture. Psalm 139, 13 through 14. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My boys, I have 2 boys. My boys are always wanting to wrestle me, guys. All the time. They want to challenge the alpha male in their life. Why? Because it's how God created them. They want to know if they have what it takes to challenge the alpha male in their life. That's how it goes. That's what we do with one another, guys, right? I don't know how many camps I've gone to where I walk into a room and like dudes are like in their underwear wrestling. That's another topic, but I'm just saying. And like one time I walked by and they're like, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Put your clothes on. No, we're gonna wrestle right now. It's like, okay, But as in the teenage years, may it be actual wrestling or through talk or strength or sports or girls. There's this like competition, this fight going on. I believe that we respond in 2 ways, guys, when we have self-esteem issues. Ready? Either we are just not going to ever attempt to pursue a girl's heart because we believe we are not worthy enough, which means we're being led by fear, or we are going to be idiots and treat women like dirt because of whatever shortcoming you truly believe you have. Or you're just trying to show off to your buddies and maybe you will get respect that way. Or we are trying to conquer a woman, again, to show to ourselves that we are a true man, which just makes a bonehead out of you. That's self-esteem issues if you're walking that line. Guys, let me tell you something. Let me apologize for a second, actually. I'm sorry for the multitude of men that are around our culture that lead us in this direction. May it be at home, may it be your friends, may it be what the constant men that rotate around in your life. If they've led you in this direction, and this is what a true man looks like, what I just described, that's false. And I'm sorry that that's what you have been exposed to. But you can change that. You don't have to follow suit in that. There's more to you than that. Ladies, you hate you in the mirror. You can't help but compare yourself to all kinds of girls' magazines, what the world tells you what you should look like, what the boys say you should look like. When you look in a mirror, you hate what you see. Or instead of loving who you are, you look for flaws. For some of you, it has led you to do things you regret. It has you looking for love in all the wrong places. It has you convinced that you are not wanted or are incapable of being loved. Or that you shouldn't even exist. This is the result of this imbalance of understanding the differences and respecting them. Last but not least, because we're pushing it here, pornography. A cultural result of all this stuff has been pornography. Matthew 5:28, and this is not just for the men, this is for the ladies as well. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. This is one of the worst results of not only misunderstanding each other, but abusing who we are. Guys and girls are struggling with this. It's degrading everything that God created. Please listen to this. It's degrading everything that God created. Turned a woman into a piece of meat or a man into a piece of meat. Turned men into disgusting leaders, leading our women into brokenness, hurt, abuse, pain, or darkness, and leading men into disrespect, shame, secrecy, lying, and darkness. No one wins. It literally degrades the very vision of who God created us to be. All the beautiful things that I described about you ladies and about you men are completely broken down and diluted in the world of pornography. It's the complete opposite. Let me share some statistics with you real quick. 1 in 5 mobile searches are for pornography. Check out this author of Playboy Greatest Cover says this. It seems so obvious. If we invent a machine, the first thing we are going to do after making a profit is use it to watch porn. The porn industry generates $13 billion each year in the US alone. Internet porn alone is a $3 billion per year business. 9 out of 10 boys are exposed to pornography before the age of 18. 6 out of 10 girls are exposed to pornography before the age of 18. 20% of 16-year-olds and 30% of 17-year-olds have received a sex. Free access means porn use has skyrocketed. Today, many porn sites are free. New York Magazine reported that a decade ago, total daily adult site traffic averaged less than 1 million unique visitors on the entire internet. Today, free MindGeek Tube sites alone receive 100 million unique visitors per day. One of the industry's biggest providers on the internet claims their site streams 75 gigabytes of data a second last year. Enough to fill 175 million 16 gigabyte iPhones. A total of 87.8 billion views, up to 10 billion from 2014, another 15 billion over 2013. An estimate 87% of college-age men and around 30% of women double-click for sex either weekly or every day. Porn sites get more visitors each month than Netflix, Amazon, and Twitter combined. I won't even read you that statistic because it's crazy. 30% of the internet industry is pornography. 30%. Never before, check out this quote. Never before in the history of telecommunication media in the United States has so much indecent and obscene material been so easily accessible by so many minors in so many American homes with so few restrictions. And this quote by Naomi Wolf. The young women who talk to me on campuses about the effect of pornography on their intimate lives speak of feeling that they can never measure up, that they can never ask for what they want, and that if they do not offer what porn offers, they cannot expect to hold a guy. The young men talk about what it is like to grow up learning about sex from porn and how it is not helpful to them in trying to figure out how to be with a real woman. For the first time in human history, the images' power and allure have supplemented that of real naked women. Today, real naked women are just bad porn. This is a quote from people and what they're going through. Research reveals, check this out. Research reveals many systematic effects of internet pornography that are undermining an already vulnerable culture of marriage and family. Even more disturbing, listen to this, please. Even more disturbing is the fact that the first internet generations have not reached full maturity. So, the upper limits of this impact have yet to be realized. Who knows what's in our future? Who knows? It's true of us, man. We figure out ways to sin, new ways to sin all the time. Think about it. If God created us to be image bearers to the world of who He is, and pornography is what we are participating in, what are we showing the world? What are we telling the world? The enemy calls this a win. I'll end with this. Because God can heal these areas. The beauties of the difference, respecting one another, have been fractured. And man, you know what I'm talking about. You see it every day in your school, at home, on the internet, in TV, in a movie. You see this disrespect and this misunderstanding and this abuse of these differences. I mean, go back to that first quote. What was intended? How God created us to be a beautiful starting point, to create something beautiful between a man and a woman. And we fractured it. I believe these issues need to be talked through individually. And the Lord needs to work that out in your heart. But I believe we need to start with looking at one another and saying this, look, I can't fix the world, okay? I can't. I can't go out there and fix the world and 30% of the internet and all billions and billions of dollars. I can't match up against billions of dollars. But here's what I can do at this personal one-on-one level. My encouragement to you and I is this. If we could just look at each other and start this way. Say something like this. I understand you a little bit better. And instead of abusing what I know and looking to just get what I want, I'm going to respect you and learn what it looks like to walk as a real man or woman of God. I lost my final page. Where'd it go? Interesting. One second. Hold, please. Oh, there it is. Okay. We can start with 3 efforts as the band comes up. 1, make an effort to understand one another. Man, don't just jump into the water of relationships. Start here. This is why I started with this topic. You want to get to a place of dating. Look, I'm not going to tell you, don't date. That's up to your parents, man. You guys got to figure that out. And I'm going to always start with that because you need to honor that home and their decision in your life. They know you the best, okay? I'm not going to go to one end and say, do absolutely this, or go to the other end and say, do absolutely this. No, I'm going to present you with the information. And my hope is that we can train you and inform you so that you can make wise decisions and start making wise decisions. Don't just jump into the deep end. We got to start here. Make an effort, 1, to understand one another. 2, make an effort to respect one another. How we talk about ladies. Ladies, how we talk about guys. How we view each other. 3, see each other through the eyes of Jesus. What if that was a real thing? We prayed, God, give me your eyes so that as I see this person that maybe I want to, jump into a relationship with, or just see women in general, guys, or ladies, see guys in general, that you can see them as a child of the Most High King, with compassion, with love and protection in the mind, and that's what leads the way. As we walk in these steps, there's so much more to understanding each other. But I believe this can be a start. My hope is that it will come with conviction and leading us to treat each other like Jesus wants us to treat each other. With equality, compassion, respect, and love. Now you may have a lot of questions, and I hope you do. So we're going to put up a phone number. This is a Google number. It's not our gathering number. It's a different number. Here's what we're going to ask you to do. Even if you can't come on Wednesday, throw a fun question in there. Ladies, you will have a guy panel. Men up here on stage. Guys, you will have a female women panel. They will answer your questions. When you send the text, say if you're a girl or a boy so that we know where to send it, okay? So if you send one, you say boy, and then ask your question. It's anonymous. We don't need to know who you are. If you want to put down who you are, that's fine. But we're not going to name any names. Anything goes. Listen to me. You can ask whatever you want because we're going to filter them anyway, okay? But we want you to have a safe place to ask questions. So for the next 5 weeks on Wednesday nights, get your butts in here because we're going to ask some serious questions. We're going to tackle some serious questions. Start answering those. And I think we're going to have a good series. Let me pray. Jesus, thank you for this morning. Thank you for this subject. So much information. But God, may we leave here just maybe understanding one new thing about the opposite sex and how you created them. Thank you for creating us with purpose and not just an accident. Thank you that there's beautiful balances there if we really dig deep in understanding one another. Continue with us as we uncover all of these truths about one another, about relationships, and what the scriptures have to say. In Jesus' name, amen.